Hi. Seems like every time I turn this camera on, I have to yawn. But I did make myself some coffee. Hopefully that will help. I am going to read. It's been a while. I'm behind. Seems like with when you're doing elder care and so many other things, it's like you fall behind in other things that you want to do. So, anyway, um, I'm going to continue to read, but I'm looking at this, and this is going to be a little bit tougher than in expected, because some of the stuff, like I said, I am reading the Walk in the Light series, Restoration by Todd Bennett, which I do put the link down there. I may be talking louder because I lost a hearing aid, so I have to go to the hearing aid place, and they've been bugging me to get new ones anyway, so I feel unbalanced. Anyway, I don't pronounce words correctly. I am slow. I stumble, stutter, stammer. But when it comes to some of this Hebrew stuff, I do really struggle with it. So if there's anybody out there that is listening and would like to make corrections to what I'm saying, please feel free to. I welcome any comments, criticism, constructive criticism. Yeah. But I left off, I'm still on chapter 1, just a couple pages. And hopefully, now that I'm editing, I can edit out yawns. Alrighty. Continuing on, many who study the scriptures have a hard time visualizing this firmament because it talks about dividing the waters, which you would think is land. But then we see that the firmament is called heaven, Shamain in Hebrew. And I will post a picture of the word that I struggle with, and if I can get it in the Hebrew, I will post that also right here so you can see where I'm not what's the word I want. If I'm messing up a word and all of that, you can actually see it, and then I am going to edit these out. Okay. Shamaim in Hebrew. Therefore, some simply think of it as the sky or air, but this would not be sufficient to explain how it would separate the waters above from the waters below. The word firmament in the Hebrew text is Raqa, Raka, which means to pound the earth as a sign of passion. By analogy, to expand by hammering, by implication to overlay with thin sheets of metal. The implication from this word Raqiya is a metal plate which has been beaten thin. In the past, this might have been difficult to imagine, but with modern scientific advancements, we understand much more about water and the characteristics of the elements that it contains, hydrogen and oxygen. Some scientists now believe that the firmament was located approximately 11 miles above the Earth, where a heat sink exists and temperatures range between 130 and 180 degrees Fahrenheit. If this firmament was made of water, it would be in solid form, pure, transparent, no more than 20 feet in thickness. The compressed hydrogen would be in a near metallic state, thus creating a metallic dome or shell around the Earth which filter light, radiation, and radio waves. Now, I have heard this before. I mean, I did not read it to where it probably made any sense because my reading's so bad, but I have heard in different documentaries and things that I've watched that they said that the Earth is surrounded by a protective barrier, which is interesting. And otherwise, I'm sure that, and I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly, it's kind of like the protective barrier actually helps things from coming in and destroying the Earth that could. It's a protective dome, like it says. It's interesting. I mean, it makes sense that the Father would do something like that to protect his people, his children. The firmament would have resulted in a greenhouse effect, and as a result, most creation scientists believe that the planet was a much different place than we currently observe. They describe a world where temperature, light, oxygen levels, and even atmospheric pressure were optimal. The conditions which existed allowed for enormous vegetation growth, along with the existence of the largest vegetative consumers, dinosaurs. Mankind was larger and stronger and smarter, not the animal-like caveman, which evolutionists promote to naive youth during their formative years in school. Most importantly, original man was connected both to his creator and to the creation over which he was given dominion. And that makes sense. I mean, it's a far cry from Adam and Eve and cavemen, men coming from apes. Where did the apes come from? And the explosion theory. I mean, people can argue either way, but I'm just saying, I'm going to put my faith in a creator before I would put it in a Big Bang theory that I came from nothing. Quite simply, the early Earth was a perfect ecosystem formed by a perfect creator who described his handiwork as exceedingly good. It was far different from the Earth that we currently live on, a planet which has since been plagued by sin and death due to the fall of man. The scriptures describe a paradise that was disrupted due to disobedience, which led to death and destruction. Man, who was originally intended to live forever with his Creator, now experienced both a physical and spiritual death along with all of the creation. And it seems like everything around us is dying. And I mean, he did say that things would be harder. I mean, I think, and I know I'm jumping the gun here, but I think we're experiencing the last days. I think, as they say, the birth pangs are getting so much closer. We need to be ready. Man, my neck is crooked. Anyway, I keep feeling like I'm so lopsided. I have scoliosis and I feel like it's getting the best of me where I'm just... Anyway, let's proceed. Adam was a unique creation, and he was intimately connected with the entire created world. His name is directly associated with the word ground, and it has Adamah. And again, I'll try to see if I can't get it in here, make snippets and pictures and stuff. From which he was created along, although he then received the breath of life from Elohim, he was the special link between the creator and the creation. Now, it does have a lot of the Hebrew, like when it says breath of life, it does have Nishmet Chaim, and then it has the Hebrew letters also. And it's difficult for me to try to do those, so I tend to maybe not skip over, but a little bit. A word here. That's why I buy the book. You'll probably get a lot more out of it reading it, studying it, looking things up than listening to me, but this is one way that I know that I will, it helps me to get back on track. So, anyway, as I said, he was a special link between the creator and the creation, and was a bridge, so to speak, between the two. The scriptures record that he was made in the image of Elohim. And so long as he remained obedient, he would partake in the tree of life. He was created to live as a complete being forever. For those familiar with the creation account, it is well known that both the woman and man disobeyed the command and were expelled from the garden and denied access to the tree of life. Adam failed to watch over the garden by allowing the serpent to enter and tempt his mate, whose name is Hawah. It's not Eve. And I have a hard time pronouncing that, Hawa, as she is commonly called in modern translation of the Bible. Hawa then engaged in a discussion with the serpent, who tempted her to transgress the commandment not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. She then ate and gave to Adam also, who also ate. Now, I'm going to stop here, but I'm wondering, and I'm going to look that up tonight. I want to see something, because I'm wondering, I mean, this isn't the scriptures. I'm reading what this guy took. How is it that Adam let the serpent into the garden? How did the serpent get into the garden? And then I have a note: when you sin, it isn't just about you and your sin. It affects all of those around you, which is totally true. And I also have here Bereshit, which is Genesis 3:21, and Yahweh Elohim made coats of skin for the man and his wife and dressed them. That goes farther down. But if you have any thoughts on that, how did the serpent get into the garden? Let me know. I am really curious about that. I understand that Adam and, as you know, as you would think of Eve, which is not, a lot of people say it was her that talked Adam into eating of the tree also. He could have very well said no. He could have told her no. And he could have stood up to the serpent. Even she could have stood up to the serpent. I just was wondering, since he believes or tends to believe that um, he allowed the serpent into the garden. I would like to know how he came across of thinking that. I like his books. Just because I really like his books and they really are food for thought doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with absolutely everything that's in here. But it is very interesting. So with that, I have gone on too long. I am going to cut this short. But anyway, if you have anything to say, I will try to catch up on these. Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment. Yes. I'm sorry. My mouse gets stuck. And then I just kind of like searching here. Y'all have a good night. Bye.